As you already know, this is the first day for the Cable News Network, and we thought you might like to see where we live and some of our facilities. So here's a tour of CNN with Chris Curl and Dawn Farmer.
Isolate satellite control.
It's a pleasure to take you on a tour of the facilities here at the Cable News Network to see the machines and the people who will make this news channel work. I'm staying in what we call the farm, the satellite farm, the largest collection of satellite receiving dishes in the world. Each of these 6 receivers is aimed at one of the 6 U.S. domestic satellites in orbit 22,300 miles above the Earth. Well, these monsters, it seems, can collect almost anything from up there, any broadcast signal being carried on any channel on any of the satellites. They reach up and they get the signal somehow and they bring it right down here. And from here, it's only a short trip by cable across this Georgia red clay lot inside the Cable News Network headquarters here in Atlanta. My wife and co-anchor Chris Curl is inside there now at Master Control. Chris?
It's here in Master Control that the signals from all of those dishes become pictures and sounds. It's here that they're all transformed into the people and into the programs that you'll see here on the news channel. And one of the busiest people here is our satellite manager, Bill Papa. Bill.
Hi, we're very busy here because we have access to any signal transmitted via a domestic satellite, which is as many as 98 at any given time. We have 20 receivers here, so we can tune into as many as 20 signals simultaneously that we'll have access to anywhere in the house here at CNN.
What happens to the signals after you've rounded them up here in Master Control?
Okay, we tune in the frequency here, and it's put into our routing system right here, and then it can be viewed on any one of our monitors on the monitor bank here, as well as several monitors throughout the studio floor, as well as all the editing rooms and some other locations throughout the building.
You can just push a button and it either goes to the viewer or to one of our edit rooms or someplace else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right now, we're taking a feed from New York. As you can see right here, Mary Alice isn't quite ready, and tile here, and this is what's currently going out on CNN Air.
Well, whether our viewers will see it as it's happening or whether our viewers will see it in an edited form later on is determined here at CNN, where Dawn is right now.
Hey, there's James. This is where the news people tackle all that technology we've been showing you and actually use it to help us gather the news. And one of our chief news gatherers at CNN is Jim Rutledge. Jim, what's the function of the desk?
Well, this is where we have 15 assignment editors, and it's here that we coordinate all the activity that we collect with the 7 domestic bureaus and the 2 foreign bureaus. We work throughout the day, 24 hours a day, to get the material that you see on the air.
So if any of our people have a problem, they call you first?
That's correct.
We're going to come back to the assignment desk in just a moment to show you our bureaus in this country and around the world. From here, the material goes literally right across the room, right here, to where the producers and the writers take the pictures and the words and try to put together the actual pieces you see on the air on Cable News Network. The man in charge here is Ted Kavanaugh. Ted, I'm sorry, excuse me. How do you put it together here?
So we have a pool of producers here. Each one does 2-hour shows. 1 hour show, then 4 hours off, another hour show. They take the material from the pool and they send it over to the videotape room where it's coordinated with the words and the tape is coordinated, and then it's on to the anchor people and we wish them luck with it.
Okay, thanks very much. From here, across the anchor desk, through the sports area, to A Control as we call it, and that's where Chris is standing by now. Chris?
Well, you've seen Master Control. This is A Control, where all of our news gathering efforts come together electronically. Our directors and our producers sit here to make our newscasts, our tape reports, and all of our live satellite feeds come together to be part of our continuous news coverage. And the technology here is the latest and the very best. This audio board, for example, is really one of a kind. We could use it for a rock concert, but we just use it to make sure that you can hear the news as it happens.
Library, volcano, concert, riot, religion, hospice,
interest rates may be going surge in high
London, Rome, Los Angeles, Vienna, Miami, Buffalo, Seoul, Tokyo, Moscow.
So as you've seen now, it all comes together here in Atlanta, but it all comes into Atlanta from a lot of different places, especially from the CNN bureaus around the United States, the largest of which is in Washington.
This is Bernard Shaw in our Cable News Washington Bureau. Our staff is large because this news capital of the world is large, complex, and ever-changing. The number one challenge is not just to tell you what and why things happen here, but to explain what developments mean to you and how they'll affect your pocketbook. And we've got the kind of professionals who care.
I'm Mark Walton. As White House correspondent for cable news, I'll be covering the president and his advisors as they have never been covered before, with precise live television reports wherever and whenever presidential news happens. In the Oval Office, overseas, and on the campaign trail, you can rely on me and our cable news cameras for in-depth, plain-language reporting on the nation's #1 citizen.
I'm Kirsten Lindquist at the Treasury Department. I've got the economics beat.
This is Bob Berkowitz on Capitol Hill. We're going to keep a sharp eye on Congress with updates throughout the day. And if it's important, we'll be there live.
You can depend on us being here all the time. And please, pass the word.
I'm Mary Alice Williams, New York Bureau Chief for the Cable News Network. We're in the heart of Wall Street, and each morning, each night, anchor Lou Dobbs, editor Myron Kandel, and our financial team will be bringing you reports on the world of business and high finance and what it means to you. Kevin Sanders will let you in on the in crowd, TV, Broadway, the beautiful people. Elsa Clanch brings in the trendsetters, the go-getters who set today's style. Ed Randall runs down the hits, the runs, and the errors, and along with a top-notch staff of reporters, I'll be bringing you the news as it happens, live from New York and the Northeast.
This is Jeff Levine in San Francisco. I'll be covering news of the Bay Area and the Pacific Northwest. Whenever and wherever news happens in our area, we'll be there. And we'll bring it to you live via satellite. From breaking stories to politics to features, we'll have it all. So please, stay with us.
Hello, I'm Larry Lamont, the Dallas Bureau Chief for the CNN. Welcome to our bureau in downtown Dallas at one main place. Though we're in downtown, we're going to be covering a 4-state region, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana. It's an exciting region, well known for its tornadoes and hurricanes and oil slicks. But it's also known for something else, an economic boom. This is the Sun Belt area. Many businesses are moving to Houston and to Dallas, New Orleans, and other cities in the Sun Belt states. It's an exciting story, and we'll keep you abreast of it.
Welcome to California. Hi, I'm Lee Leonard, and this is the CNN Los Angeles Bureau. Every night at 10 o'clock Pacific Time, we'll bring you Tonight's People, a full hour of talk with celebrities and people making the news. But a lot more will come to you from Los Angeles. We will have a full-time entertainment reporter covering the entertainment capital of the world, Fred Saxon, and he'll be feeding information via satellite to you all day and all night on CNN. Hard news will be covered by Bryce Zabel, and the sports beat here in the Los Angeles area by Debbie Segura. That's all coming to you from Los Angeles here on CNN. We'll be with you every night at 10 o'clock for a full hour of talk with Tonight's People.
This is Cindy Druss, Bureau Chief in Chicago. I'm one of nearly 7 million people that say Chicago is my kind of town. Here you find the kind of people that build the world's tallest building, serve the world's best pizza, elect feisty mayors, and turn out for any kind of parade, anytime. Here in Chicago, we cover the people, those in colorful old country neighborhoods and those in the corporate neighborhoods. We cover people known for their leadership, people known for their advice, and people you know for plain common sense. Transmitting live by satellite and microwave here and around the Midwest, CNN is in the heartland's capital city because this is our kind of town.
All of our foreign news reports comes across this desk, comes from our correspondents and bureaus around the country, to our foreign editor, who is Janae Von Essen. Janae, how does the material get here from around the world?
One of the things we're really excited about is our ability to use satellite coverage to feed from our Rome and our London bureaus and to feed from various points where stories are breaking in the world and bring the material right here into Atlanta, where we'll put it on the air as fast as we can. I think we're going to get a lot more international news on the air. I think we're going to get it on a lot faster. You're going to get the opportunity to see a lot more of the way things take place in the world on CNN. Another thing I think will be a lot of fun for the people of the country is to see some of the foreign sports that you don't usually see covered here by the American networks, like cricket, some of the yacht races. I think they're fascinating, and we should have them on a lot.
Thank you, Janae. And sports is our next stop on this tour of the Cable News headquarters. Any serious news coverage, whether it's local, national, or international, has to include sports. And our vice president in charge of sports coverage here at Cable News is Bill McPhail. Bill, what sort of coverage can we look forward to?
Well, Don, we're going to have full sports around the clock. We'll have Among other programs, 2 half-hours on weekdays. We'll have 2-hour programs on the weekends. We plan extensive coverage of sports, national and international.
More than just the scores.
A lot more than the scores, Don.
Thank you, Bill. Sports, of course, does make big news, and so does sometimes the weather. Chris?
Absolutely, Don. Here in our CNN meteorology department, weatherman Flip Spiceland has all of the latest equipment to make sure that you get the latest weather story. Flip, what is all this new technology?
Well, this is the latest thing in weather reporting is the computer, as you've seen, I'm sure, around the newsroom already. This is our weather scan computer, and we tap in the National Weather Service lines, and we pick up every single solitary piece of information that the National Weather Service has and that they are distributing throughout the United States.
You don't have to go rip the wires anymore. You just punch the buttons, right?
We don't rip wires at all. Now, if we were recording a long list of temperatures, something obviously would be difficult for us to remember them. So for the old backup, we can put this thing in a mode like this and print things out of the top of it and go ahead and rip wires if we want to. If the memory starts to fail a little bit, but no, we don't fool around with paper at all over here in the weather department. We have all the electronic gizmos. Matter of fact, I was just looking for bulletins anywhere in the country. I just type in "give me the bulletin file," and any place in the country that has a weather bulletin out right now prints right out on my screen right here.
And you learn about it instantaneously through the machine.
Absolutely. The moment that it hits the wire, it can be displayed right here.
There's something behind me that you were telling me is very new and unique to us, right?
It is new. As a matter of fact, this is one of the only ones in the country that will operate this way. Now, most people have seen color radar, but it's for your local area, wherever you live. That's the color radar you see. This color radar can patch into 30 of the 33 available radar systems in the country. In other words, even though we are here in the southeast, we could see the radar scan in New York City. We could see the radar scan in Seattle, Washington. We can see radar anywhere in the country by punching it up right here. We can see there are 33 available National Weather Service radars. We can pick up 30 of them right here on this little screen.
So, Flip, you could trace a weather system all across the country with this.
Absolutely. If we saw a front that was kicking up its heels in Denver and then moving on into Kansas, we could punch up Denver. When it moved into Kansas, we could punch up Kansas. Got into Missouri, we could punch it up in Missouri and follow that front on radar all the way across the country. That's true. In addition to that, we'll also have a GOES satellite receiver. But again, we're not taking a local feed. We're patching out of Washington, D.C. So we can get 24 different pictures from the satellite at any time we want. Just dial them up. They'll have a new one for us every 30 minutes. We can see the West Coast just like we can see the East Coast. 24 different angles from the satellite. And then we have our good old-fashioned NAFAX machine. That just
old-fashioned equipment?
Yeah, it is old-fashioned. It's paper, we're sorry to say. We have paper. Just print out good old-fashioned weather charts that the meteorologists like to browse at and mark on and draw their isobars and temperatures.
So you've got the weather story covered for CNN, right?
We've got it covered completely. And in addition to this electronic equipment, if you talk about old-fashioned, we got the good old-fashioned weather map over there, too. And we'll be doing a lot of fancy things with that, too.
Thank you very much, Flip Spiceland. And now let's go back to Dawn.
We try to do more than just cover the news here on CNN. We also like to get behind the stories and bring you some interesting discussions about issues that are very important to a lot of people. Our premier effort in doing that is called Freeman Reports, and the host of that program every night is Sandy Freeman. Sandy, what is it you do here every night?
It'd be difficult for you to know because I'm sure you're sound asleep by that time. But every evening we will have a 1-hour show, Monday through Friday, live. We'll have a live audience here. We will have phone-in capabilities from across the country so that people will be able to phone in and talk to the guest or guests who are here with us. We'll be covering newsmakers. We'll be covering news stories of the day, and hopefully have the time to get behind the headlines so that maybe we can all put the pieces together and see how they affect us where we live.
Doesn't that make it, Sandy, the first nationwide call-in television issue-oriented program?
Yes, it does. It does, and that's exciting.
It really is, yeah. And while Sandy's asleep, if she's lucky, Chris and I will be looking at some of the same stories and some others, too, from a slightly different perspective, and, in fact, a slightly different location, just the other side of this revolving newsroom. Chris?
It's true there are many ways you can watch the news channel. You can never sleep and be with us 24 hours a day, or you can tune in at any time of the day or night to find out then what's happening in your world.
And while we have your attention, we cannot resist suggesting one good place to check us out. At noon Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, Chris and I will be right here on a 2-hour program called Take Two. News for sure, and sports and weather too, plus a lot of other material we think you'll want to know about. Take Two starts tomorrow. We're really happy to be here at the start of something very special in television journalism.
And we're happy that you're here with us to watch the news channel as the news goes on.
Here's the headlines to this minute. The Ayatollah Khomeini says documents seized at the American embassy in Tehran will be exhibited at a so-called conference on U.S. intervention in Iran. That opens tomorrow. 500 angry Cuban refugees storm out of the Fort Chaffee, Arkansas resettlement center, but they are quickly rounded up and returned to that center. President Carter visits with civil rights leader Vernon Jordan in a Fort Wayne hospital. He's recovering from a gunshot wound. Police launch a nationwide search for horse trainer Buddy Jacobson. He is scheduled to be sentenced Tuesday for killing his ex-girlfriend's lover. Coming up in the next hour, a live report from Key West.
Wir werden sterben, aber Deutschland muss leben, jetzt und immer.
He was a monster.